Welcome to Board Games Galore. My name is Chris. This channel we cover the top 5 board games. If you like, please click the thumbs up and subscribe. So let's begin. The top 5 board games. Based on a video games with a bonus added. Wait till the end of the video for this one. Let's begin. Doom is the first on the list. The board game has 2 to 5 players. Ages start at 14 years old and up. The game has between 120 to 180 minutes of gameplay. Doom. This is the first version of many games. The Doom game will have a single player controlling the forces of hell, while the rest of the players jump into the shoes of a space marine. While Doom is a non-stop action shooter in its digital form, the board game takes a much more tactical approach. The soldiers have some kind of mission to accomplish, while the invader must try to stop them by throwing legions of demons at them. Doom, the board game, is a really good dice chucker with some amazing looking miniatures as well. Next is Fallout. The board game has 1 to 2 players. Recommended ages are 12 years old and up. There's 120 to 180 minutes of gameplay. I'm going to preference this one by saying if you get the Fallout board game, you definitely need to get the New California and Atomic Bonds expansions. This will turn Fallout from a competitive game into a cooperative one, which is where it should have been all along. From a thematic perspective, Fallout is great. You'll explore the wasteland, upgrade your characters, and interact with many familiar faces and monsters from the Fallout video games. However, the endgame victory point system was not very fun at the best of times and unbalanced at the worst. But as a cooperative game, it's a blast. Up next, Gears of War. This board game has 1 to 4 players. Ages are 12 years old and up. There are 60 to 180 minutes of gameplay. Here's the Gears of War manufacturer video to watch. And I will talk about the game more afterwards.
Gears of War, the board game, is a cooperative game that pits the soldiers of the coalition of ordered governments against the cunning and relentless forces of the Locust Hordes. Choose from one of 4 COG soldiers, each with his own special abilities, and face off against an intelligent, varied game system in 7 uniquely constructed missions. Dive into cover, spray your enemy with blind fire, or rip him in half with your Lancer's chainsaw. While the missions in Gears of War, the board game, present a variety of challenging objectives, each one offers significant replayability on its own. A single mission is comprised of 1 or more unique decks of location cards, revealed over the game's narrative stages as players move toward their ultimate goal. After selecting a mission, you'll shuffle the location decks for each stage, which are used to determine the order and placement of the board's detailed tiles. A stage's map setup is entirely new every time, and this, along with a varied distribution of recoverable weapons, means no 2 games will ever be the same. Highly trained tacticians and experts in a wide range of weapons, COGs have a number of tricks at their disposal. Order cards allow you to pull off spectacular moves, charge into fire, take quick cover, or lend a hand to a teammate. On your turn, you'll play 1 order card to move, attack, or use that card's printed ability. From scavenging for precious ammunition to performing devastating close-quarters assaults, the abilities on your order cards present a wide range of compelling choices. In the upper left corner of every order card, you'll find one of 3 reaction icons. Use these effects for a well-timed defensive boost, a surprise attack, or to fall into formation behind a fellow COG. Every mission features a new combination of Locust enemies. Berserkers blindly charge toward players when they attack. Boomers, on the other hand, choose long-range targets at which to lob highly destructive grenades. And while simple-minded tickers rush at enemies before exploding at their feet, the clever Cantus will revive his fallen comrades, returning them to the fight. At the end of each player's turn, he draws a card from the mission's Locust AI deck. which dictates the movements and actions of the Locust Horde. Whether advancing their position, launching an attack, or reinforcing their numbers from the nearest emergence hole, the relentless Locust Horde will keep constant pressure on your squad. Luckily, you'll come prepared to meet your enemy head-on with Gears of War's quick and deadly dice-based combat system. Custom six-sided dice display wound, shield, and special omen icons. To make a standard attack against a target within your line of sight, just roll your weapon's attack dice and your target's defense dice simultaneously, counting the number of wounds minus the number of shields. But while defense dice can be added by factors like range and cover, your pool of attack dice is primarily determined by your attack, standard or overkill. Each weapon has a limited number of clips, and although this is easy enough to preserve when making standard attacks, players can also choose to spray their targets in a reckless hail of gunfire. These overkill attacks result in significantly more powerful strikes, but they also spend precious ammunition. From the reliability of the standard issue Lancer assault rifle to the tremendous stopping power of the Nasher shotgun, you'll have the equipment you need to get the job done, as long as you don't run out of bullets. The enemy is everywhere, and they'll stop at nothing short of the total destruction of civilization. You are humanity's last hope. Gather your team and stand together against the Locust Horde.
This cooperative game will have players controlling one of the iconic cogs from the Gears of War video game. They will then embark on one of the handful of missions in the game that usually has them fighting off hordes of the locusts. Gears of War wasn't easy to win, but the gameplay, which used your hand of cards as your health, was a lot of fun. However, this one has been out of print for a while, so you'll need to head to the secondary market to find it. Next is Fallout Shelter. It has 2 to 4 players. Ages are 10 years old and older. There are 60 minutes of gameplay. I played the Fallout Shelter video game. To give you a heads up, this game is a timer-based F2P game. I will admit that it's definitely less predatory than most in that category. That being said, Fallout Shelter, the board game, is really well made. It's a light worker placement game that will have players building out their level of the shelter trying to earn the most happiness. In addition to building rooms and managing resources, players must also contend with hazards that pop up in the form of rad roaches, fires, and other monsters from the wasteland. Next on the list is XCOM. This game is 1 to 4 players. Ages are 12 years old and older. There are 60 to 120 minutes of gameplay. One of the earliest offerings of a digitally integrated board game, XCOM, the board game has 4 players taking control of the Earth's defense against an alien invasion. The game was played in 2 parts, with the first half of a round in real time as an app not only counted down the time, but cycled through phases and threw threats at you. In the second half, you had action resolution to see how well, or how poorly your team did. XCOM is a tense game that requires solid cooperation from the players. We have now approached the bonus. Drum rolls please. Oops. I do not know how to play drums. But anyway. The bonus game is Kingdom Hearts Talisman. It has 2 to 6 players. Ages are 13 years old and up. There's 90 minutes of gameplay. Watch the brief video, and I will speak a little more on this game. In Kingdom Hearts Talisman you will take on the roles of Sora, Kairi, Riku, King Mickey, and more to battle through locations from Kingdom Hearts. To seal the door to darkness. Equip with significant allies, magic spells and weapons to face off with Ansem, Seeker of Darkness. Featuring a custom illustrated game board for a truly unique experience. Includes 11 custom sculpted character figures. Well, that is it for the countdown. Thank you for watching. Please comment below if you have any questions or just want to say anything. Don't miss out. See you next time.